I want to remind you all that if you haven't signed up for the exams as yet, the national exams, whether you're taking BJC or BGCSE, if you haven't signed up for that as yet, please ensure that you do. Please note that that Friday, that's this coming Friday, that's the 28th. Friday, yes, Friday is the 28th. That's the deadline to sign up for the exams. Another thing, please, I noticed that a lot of persons are not sending in their notes. I want to see your math and your English notes from yesterday, so please send them if you haven't done so already. And as we go through this lesson, I want you also to be sending in your notes in so that I can know that you're participating. And also, if you want me to check something that you're doing, please also send in your notes so I could see and I could correct it immediately. Okay, so yes, ma'am. All right.
I sent
I
you
sent
some
you some
pictures.
pictures.
I see them. I see you giving me work. Yeah, I haven't gotten around to them yet, Miss Cooper. All right, so let me share my screen. And let me know when you can see it. Remember, if you are just joining us, please place here or present in the chat box to let me know. Not in the chat box, but in my WhatsApp number. Let me put my WhatsApp number inside the group again. That is 428-8971. And if you have any questions as we move along, please don't be afraid or ashamed to ask it. Even if you message me it privately, don't be ashamed to message me concerning those questions. All right, so let's begin. Last class, we was looking at graphing inequalities in 2 dimensions. We talked about, how to determine if a side is a true side or false side. How do we determine if a side is a true side or false side? What do we use?
The
The,
the
the,
the middle
the
of the
middle of
graph
the
zero
graph, zero,
zero.
zero.
We use test points, all right. And the test point that I encourage you all to use was what? What was the test point that I
Zero
suggest?
Zero,
zero.
zero.
0, 0, or the origin. Very good. So we talked about looking at the origin as that test point, and if the test point is true, what can you say about the entire side?
That
If the
is
test
true.
point is true, that the entire
True.
side is true. But if the test point is false, which side do you shade? Do you say that you shade the side of the
The
test point,
true
or you shade
side.
the opposite?
The
The
true
The
opposite.
side.
true side.
Yeah, we always say the true side. All right. So now we are going to move off of the. We're gonna move off of the graphical side of inequalities. Not totally off, but a little bit off. Today our emphasis is gonna be more on. Today our emphasis is gonna be more on um, the algebraic side of inequalities. All right. And so we're gonna solve it. We're gonna see how to solve an inequality, and then we're gonna, after we solve it, then graph it. All right. So that's the idea. All right. Who's baddest Jamie? What's your full name? Can you write that as your screen name? Oh, she already left, I guess. All right. Make sure your screen name is your name, so it wouldn't be hard time when I'm doing the register. I can know exactly who it is. All right. Solve each inequality and graph the solution. So let's first solve it. So this is going to be our exercise today. We're going to first solve the inequality, then we are going to graph the solution. Okay. So let's solve it and then graph the solution. Remember, if you haven't sent in your notes from yesterday, please send them in now. I see some people already sending them in from yesterday. Please do that if you haven't done so already. So solve each inequality and graph its solution.
Can
Or
we
can
run a
we run
shocking
a
split?
shocking
Oh,
split?
never
Oh,
mind.
never
Well,
mind.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Give me one moment. Let me see this is asking me going. Dove. Solve each inequality and graph its solution. So we're gonna solve this inequality in a similar way that we would do it if it was an equal sign. So here we have 4x plus 5 is less than negative 19. And we're going to solve this inequality such that we're going to have only on one side x, and on the other side we're going to have the numbers. Okay, so that's the first step. The first step really is to make sure that we isolate x. We make sure that only x is on one side and everything else is on the other side. So that's what we have to do. Okay, so alright, so let's begin. So we begin by first solving it. We first begin by solving it regularly, like how we would if this was not a less than sign but an equal to sign. So let's begin. So we have 4x plus 5 is less than negative 19. And so the first thing that we're gonna do, anyone can tell me what the first thing that we're gonna do? Carry the 5 over. Very good.
Carry the 5 over.
Good. So we carry the 5 over. Once we finish carry the 5 over, what we do, so we're gonna say 4x on this side is less than negative 19. Now this positive 5 becomes what? When we send it over the equal sign.
A negative
Negative
5.
5.
Negative 5. Very good. This becomes negative 5. And so now we have 4x is strictly less than, what is it, negative 19 minus 5. Negative 19 minus 5, what is that? Negative 24. Very good. So it's going to be negative 24. Now, how did she get that? Well, if you think about it, if you owe someone $19 and you owe another person $5, how much do you owe altogether?
24.
24.
You owe 24. Okay. So we have 4x is strictly less than negative 24. So now the question is, what do we do at this point?
divide both
Divide
sides by
both
4.
sides before.
No, you don't divide both sides by 4. Well, no. Yes, you're right. You're right. That's my bad. I was thinking, because of the negative, but no, that doesn't have any part to play. Because this is positive 4, and you want to get rid of the positive 4, you divide both sides by 4, like they said. That's correct. So divide both sides by 4. Next, what we do at this point, we are going to do what?
Cross.
Cancel. So these two cancels. So we're going to be left with x is strictly less than negative 24 divided by 4. And so now we have x is strictly less than, what is negative 24 divided by 4?
Negative
Negative
6.
6.
Negative 6. Alright, negative 6. So now how do we read this statement?
X is
X
less
is
than
less than
negative 6.
negative 6.
Very good. X is less than negative 6. So we have already solved the inequality. How do we know it's solved though? How do we know that, okay, we have solved it, it's solved? How do we know it's solved?
Because
Because
X is on
X
one
is on
side
one
and
side
numbers
and
on one
numbers on
side.
one side.
Very good, because x is on one side and the numbers on the other side. So we have isolated x, okay? Alright, so now that we've already solved the inequality, the next part that we have to do is graph the solution. And so we're going to get our, in one moment. Alright, and it froze. Alright, so we're gonna get our number line. Then once we get the number line, we can graph it. But I want you to try it. Can you all hear me still?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I want you to try it on your own.
I can't see the number.
No, I haven't drawn the number line yet.
Oh.
Draw the number line on your own.
So this is like a linear equation.
A linear equation? What do you mean?
Like since it's only
Yeah, it's only gonna be in the x-axis. It's only gonna be in the
that's
one
what
dimension. Yeah, only gonna be in one dimension. Not like last time when it was not like last time when it was on the x and y axis. All right. Hey.
I'm trying to my phone is dying, so I have to work on my laptop. Can you add me back in?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay.
Okay. Now the next thing is, so once you've already done that, send the picture to me. I want to see how you graph x is less than or equal to, sorry, x is strictly less than -6. So I'm not gonna do it yet. Let me see how you graph it. X is less than -6. Are we done yet? Can you all still see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Alright, no one has sent me anything yet. What happened? You don't remember how to do it?
You said you want me to send you a picture of it?
Yes, sir. Yeah, send me a picture of the
Okay, let me
graphing.
put it back on it.
Yeah, let me put it back on it. So I want to see us graphing x is strictly less than -6. And if you have notes from yesterday that you haven't sent, please send it. Alright, so let's see. Okay. No one sent me a correct one yet. No one. Avernick, let me see what Avernick sent me. No. I haven't received anything from Julia, Chiante, Pennerman, Dylan, Michael, Tamara, Ricardo. What happened? We don't remember how to do it?
Give me a second, line it up.
Give you a sec to line it up. Nixon. Okay, okay. See this one. Alright.
Momentarily, Mr. Petite, I trying to line myself up.
Very good, Alicia. That's the correct one.
I think I have to start over. I have to go into the ruler.
Miss Reckley, very good. That's correct. So I have one correct so far. Let's see, Dylan. Dylan, yeah, I see a number line, but I don't see you graph it yet. Dylan, you have to graph it. Miss Cooper, close but not correct. Anyone else? Natalia Johnson, I haven't seen anything from you. Mr. Bethel, I ain't seen nothing. Who else I haven't seen anything from? Harry Penniman. Very close. The only problem is you don't have it under -6. I -6 that you have it under. Cooper. Nope. Alright. Only get one correct so far? Wow. Let's see you all in this class. We have 42 people in this class, and we're trying to get one correct answer. Come on, people, what happened? Abigail, Anne Veronique, Ariana, Collins, Denari, Destiny. I'm not getting anything from you all. I'm gonna see this, Miss Joseph. Alright, Miss Joseph, I'm trying to figure out if the one you erase is for, did you erase the line? Nancy, do it again, because that one hard to understand. I'm trying to figure out what's happening now. Okay, Abigail. 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 I see your notes, but I don't see your answer. Alright. Averonique. Okay, yeah. Oh, sorry, not Averonique. Elshani Cooper. Very good. She did it in interval notation. What happened, Mr. Floyd Bethel? What happened, Jason Rule? One, I was expecting something from one. Nothing from Kelisha Saunders. Nothing from Kennedy. Nothing from Michaela. I want you all to graph this. I want you all to graph the solution.
You're supposed to just draw a line, right?
I know. Veronique, that's not correct.
Is it my audio that cut out? What you say? Mine is correct or no?
Yeah, yours is correct. But you did it in interval notation. That's fine though. Alright, so let's do it. Let me help you all with this. I'm gonna help you all with this, but the next one you all have to do. Okay, so remember, we're trying to graph x is less than -6. That's what we're trying to graph. Okay? We're trying to graph x is less than -6. And so notice that this is 0. So this is gonna be what? If this is 0 and this is -4, what is this gonna be?
-2.
-2. Good. This is -4 and this is gonna be what?
-6.
-6. Good. Alright, so we want to first find -6. Once we find -6, alright, once we find -6, we would go to it and put an open circle or a shaded circle.
Open circle.
Open circle. Why open circle?
Because it's not included.
Exactly, because we don't have a we don't have a line underneath this inequality symbol. Okay, it's strictly. So because there's no line underneath it, that means that this -6 is not included. So we leave it open, and then we're gonna draw the line to the left or to the right.
To the left.
The left. Now the reason why it's to the left is because we're getting smaller and smaller and smaller because they say x is less than -6. Okay, so this is the graph of our inequality. So we solved it, and this is its graph. All right, but that was straightforward. I'm only 2 persons sent me the correct.
Yeah,
3
I
persons.
get that, but I was a little confused on it. Should they put the circle directly where the line, what you call it, intercept the x-axis, or should they put it above? I didn't know what you meant.
You mean here or here?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Both of them are correct. When we said all 2 of them could work. Alright, so let me just do another one, and then I'm expecting much more people to get it right.
So when you say put it on, you mean that if you put it on
So,
the line
so if I
itself,
put it here,
you would just
if I,
trace back the line too.
yeah, we'll just trace it like so. Okay, that could work. Okay, that would be right. Alright. Okay, so can I move this?
Yes, sir.
Not exactly.
Not yet, okay. Alright, thank you, Miss Penniman. That's much better, Miss Nancy. Much better.
I don't really send photos like that because my camera mess up.
It's seeable.
Yeah, you see what I meant? Like I didn't remember which one.
Yeah, which one
On
they
the
use?
line or above it.
Yeah. Now when you do it, notice that my circle and my line always extends from the peripheral from the circumference of the circle. So I don't ever go inside and then come out. So there's a big difference.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright. That's why I love seeing y'all pictures, because y'all is invent stuff that I never even thought about. So no, for real. I wouldn't even think to do that, but that's good. That's good. It's good to see it. Very good, Miss Forbes, Tamara Forbes. And very neat. Very neat. That's neat. Alright, so let's move on. So let's do another one. I want to do something similar to that before we get to doing this one. Let's do number 4. Okay, let's do number 4. Number 4 is interesting though. Number 4 is interesting. But number 4 is number 4 is one that I saw similar, very similar to what came on the exam. Let's go. So let's do this. So you want to graph this inequality. So it says here, solve each inequality and graph the solution. Okay. And so what is the first thing that we're going to do? What is our goal?
Remove the 3.
Exactly.
Isolate
Very good, to isolate the x. So our goal is to isolate x to make sure that x is on one side and everything else is on the other side. And so what we do is we are going to first remove that 3. And because it was a positive, when it comes over the equal sign, the inequality sign, what does it become?
A negative.
Negative, very good. So we are left with negative 13 is less than or equal to 29 minus 3. 29 minus 3. Now what is 29 minus 3?
26.
26. What I forgot to put is negative 13x. So negative 13x. So it's going to be negative 13x still. It's less than or equal to, what is 29 minus 13? Sorry, minus 3? 26. Very good. Now at this point we have to be very careful. But what is our next step?
To divide both sides by negative 13.
Very good. To divide both sides by negative 13. And so we're going to cancel out at the next step. So this cancels with that. So we are left with simply x. But can someone tell me what we must do at this point?
Flip the sign.
We have to change the sign. We have to change the inequality sign. Yes. We have to change the inequality sign. Now this is very important.
Why would you change it?
I can tell you right now. So we have the change, then inequality sign, change the inequality. Anyone can remember why we changed the inequality sign?
Every time we divide by negative, you always flip it to the opposite side.
Very good. So every time we divide by a negative, so here notice that we divided by negative 13. Okay, every time, and we divided by negative 13 on both sides. So every time you divide by a negative, when you're dealing with inequalities, you always change the sign. Okay, so that's very important to remember. Now we didn't change the sign here because we didn't divide by a negative, we divided by a positive. But when you are dividing by a negative, you always change the inequality sign. So here we have x is greater than or equal to 26 divided by negative 13 gives us what? Negative 2. So x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Now I want to see from you all this graph. I want you all to graph it. Please graph it. And I want to see you sending in your graph. There are a lot of us here tonight, so I need to be seeing your work. Okay, so please send it. All right, Miss Reckley, I see your one coming in. Let's see. Okay. Greater than or, yep, very good. That's correct. Thank you, Miss Reckley. Anyone else? I want us to graph this inequality. Sorry. I want us to graph this inequality right now. X is greater than or equal to negative 2. All right, Miss Cooper, let's see. Very good, Miss Cooper. That's correct as well. Anyone else? Come on, it's over 30 of us in here. I gotta be receiving more notes from people. Come on. Yes, ma'am. Very good, Miss Joseph. Nixon, you sent me something? Nixon, oh, that's the old one. All right. Who else? Abigail. All right. Abigail, now graph the solution though, Abigail. Oh, I see what she did. Negative 2. Negative 2. Oh, that's correct, Abigail. That's correct. Julia Raming. That's notes from yesterday. Okay. Negative 2. Jason Roll. You're almost correct. Missing one thing, Miss Roll. Ashmath? No, that's not correct. Ashmath.
Bruh.
Close. I mean, close though. At least you got it on negative 2. Alright, Chianti. Okay, let's see what Zaria give. Alright, Zaria, I need to see the graph of the inequality now. Chianti. Close. Harry, Penniman, that's close too. Mr. Bethel, that's correct. Make sure I put the arrow on it. Alright, so let's try it. Let's do it together. So, Jalisha Sanders, let's see. Alright, so let's do it. So here we have x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Alright, let's see. Wait, before we do it, let's see what 1 has. Let's correct 1. And Veronique. So close. Just going in the wrong direction. So here we have x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Alright, let me see Ricardo before I actually do it. Ricardo, close, but wrong in direction. Alright, so we have x is greater than or equal to negative 2. And so what we're going to do is we're going to graph the solution to this. X is greater than or equal to negative 2. So we already solved it. And we came to this solution, x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Now what we're going to do is we're going to graph this solution. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to construct the number line. So on the number line, we draw a line here. Alright, so the number line. We put 0 in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Here we have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, right? Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, what does the question say? The question says x is greater than or equal to negative 2. X is greater than or equal to negative 2. So we got to go to negative 2. Now it says equal to. So x is greater than or equal to negative 2. So are we going to leave it unshaded or shaded?
Shaded.
Definitely. So we're going to shade it. So that's important. So we're going to shade it. So we draw a circle here on 2. The reason why it's on negative 2 because we have a negative 2 here. We're dealing with negative 2. And so here we're going to put a circle, but we're going to shade in the circle. And the reason why we shade in the circle is because we include negative 2 in our solution set. So we include negative 2. We include negative 2. Now, since we include negative 2, we are saying x is greater than or equal to negative 2. So we want all the numbers that are bigger than negative 2. Excuse me. So what numbers are bigger than negative 2? Well, several numbers are bigger than negative 2. Negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These numbers are what? They are bigger than negative 2.
Bigger than negative 2.
Yes, and so therefore we're going to shade in this direction. Alright, because these numbers are bigger than negative 2. Alright, so that's how we would do that.
So if it's greater than or equal to, we have to go to the greater side either way.
Yeah, we have to go to the greater side because they tell us that it's bigger than negative 2, right? So what numbers would be bigger than negative 2? Certainly 2, 3, 4, 5. These numbers, 6, 7, and continue. They would be bigger than negative 2. Alright? So that's important.
On the exam, they would have read like obviously graphing and all that. They already have graphs drawn for us.
Not for these ones. For these ones, the graph wouldn't be drawn. But for the one where we had to do what we did yesterday, like when we had to do something like this, they would give us the graph.
So we'd have to draw the graph for ourselves.
You mean the line, like how we draw this line here?
Yeah. For the one we're on now.
Yeah, for the one that you're on now, yeah, you have to draw it yourself. Okay,
Wait,
so let's do
it
that.
ain't a certain number you have to stop at, right? Just once it passed.
Yeah, once it passed. Yeah, exactly. It's not a certain number. Very good questions, Mr. Cooper. Okay, so let's continue. So we already did number 1. I think now we're ready for number 2. This type of question. So first we're going to solve the inequality. Then we are going to graph it. So how would we solve something like this? By the way, if you have any questions, let me know. Any questions? No? Everybody quiet. Very quiet Tuesday. Go ahead.
That wouldn't be the same as just saying 3x plus 9 and then put the greater than sign and 6 or no?
No. This is saying, if we were to read it, if we reading it, this is saying, hey, 3 is bigger or greater than x plus 9 divided by 6. Again, 3 is bigger than x plus 9 divided by 6. The first thing we want to do is we want to solve the inequality. Then we want to graph the solution. So we want to first solve the inequality, then graph the solution. So let's begin. Now,
Mr.
Petit. Yes, ma'am.
Why is number one and why is number line so different? As in, one is not directly in the middle, and you started from two instead of one. That's what's confusing me.
Okay. All right. So
Also, did the presentation freeze?
No, let me see. Let's see.
Okay, it came back.
Came back. Okay. That's Miss Sanders, right? Miss Kelisha Sanders asking the question.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So let me. Thanks for voicing that because I was trying to figure out exactly. No, I like that question that you asked. So she is saying, hey, we count. Wait, give me one moment. One moment, people.
He say
All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, let's explain this. So the question is, when we consider this, right? When we consider this, she's trying to figure out for our number line, we have 0, -2, -4, -6, -8. And then here we have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. So this is what we did for the first one. And then for the next one, we just count in 1. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, -1, -2, -3, -4. And so the question is, why are they different? Okay. Now, Miss Saunders, the thing is, right, is that it doesn't matter what number you count in. The only thing that matters is that your -6 is on the graph. All right. And so when we
So
display,
you shorten it by choice.
you shorten it by choice. Exactly.
Okay.
All right. And so
you could do
here,
either one, that one or the one.
yeah, that one or the one. So you could count in ones for this one, or you could count in twos, or you count in threes. The idea is you still want you always want to have the -6 on the graph. You want to have whatever you're trying to illustrate on the graph. Okay. So for this one, we needed -2. Like we needed that. We need that for sure on the graph. And
Mr.
so
P-
I keep freezing.
Freezing.
Okay.
yeah.
We didn't hear that.
Okay, give me one moment. I know the problem. All right, sorry about that. Can you hear me now clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So my apologies with that. What I was trying to explain is that Miss Saunders, you understand what I'm saying? That it's by choice that we that
Yeah,
we
so that's why, because I thought I was wrong.
Okay, yeah, all right, that's good. Any other questions before we go on to this one?
Yeah, yeah. I want to touch on that again. You say it doesn't matter as long as it have the -6, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Mm.
So it doesn't matter if it makes sense or not.
No, not that it makes sense. It have to have some sort of structure and form. Like what I mean is, like you have to orient it such that we have an idea of what's happening. So at minimum you need to have -6 for sure. All right, and then you need to have 0, 1, 2, 3. I mean, those things are optional. What's important is that we understand that you have -6 and you know that these numbers are getting bigger. So if you don't have nothing on this side, then we don't know what's happening. Are you increasing or what's not? So you need to have -6 and some numbers here indicating that they are bigger than -6. All right.
So how do you put infinite? How do you put infinite on the graph?
Infinity. This. Right. That means that's
So you
positive
could do
infinity.
that just like how you are. You could do that.
Positive infinity. I would stick and be simple. I would just count in ones. All right. To a certain number. This is better. This is when you don't have enough time, like shorthand notation. But to be
Yeah, but I
safe,
just asked if you could do it though.
you could do it and they would understand it, but I wouldn't say do that as first choice. I would say do it like this.
Could save some lead.
You would say even that. Come on, you wanna be full with your answer, and then they could be funny in the way they allocate points. So you know, don't give them reason to have to think hard. But technically speaking, this is right because you are saying that, hey, this is positive infinity. Sorry, you're saying that, hey, this is positive infinity, right? And we're moving from -6 to positive infinity. That's great. That's correct. All right. So let's go back to this one. So we trying to for this one we're trying to solve this inequality and then graph its solution. Any questions before I move on to this one? Any questions before I go?
No, sir.
No, okay. So the idea here is still to make x the subject. That's the idea. All right. And so in order to make x the subject, what the idea here is we really want to get rid of the 6. It's a denominator. We want to get rid of it. All right. We want it to be like this, something like this. No denominator. Everything is nice and smooth. Okay. So the first thing that we must do is try to get rid of this 6 at the bottom. So we're gonna do that by anyone could guess.
Multiplying it by both sides. Multiplying.
Multiply.
Someone said it.
You multiply it. You multiply it evenly on both sides.
Cross multiply.
Cross multiply. So we multiply 1 by this and 6 by that. Okay. And so what happens is when we do that, we're gonna have 6 multiplied by 3. So 6 multiplied by 3, and then we have 1 multiplied by x plus 9, and it's still greater than. All right, next up, we're going to multiply 6 by 3. What is 6 times 3?
18.
18, yes.
On M minus 5.
Okay. And what is 1 times this quantity? X plus 9.
x plus 9. Stays the
Yeah,
same.
it's the same. It's the same thing. Because 1 multiplied by anything is itself, so x plus 9. And so remember what we're trying to do? We're trying to make sure that x is by itself and everything else is on the other side. So we're gonna do at this point.
Carry over the 9.
Carry over the 9. Now when we carry over the 9, what does the positive 9 become?
Negative.
Negative 9 greater than x. Now what is 18 minus 9?
8.
9.
9.
Yes, 9. So 9 is greater than x. So now we are going to place it in a way that we understand. So we know that this is saying that 9 is bigger than x. But if 9 is bigger than x, what does that mean about x? X is what?
Is less than 9.
It's less than 9. Okay. So x is less than 9. So graph that, please. Graph this.
So
I
you
want
have
to
to
see
do
it.
that last step.
Yeah, you have to do that last step. Okay. So x is less than 9. So graph it out on the x-axis, please, and I want to see the solutions that you get. X is less than 9. Any questions on what we did here? Like, why we cross multiply?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Like how you know to switch it back, or you just want to switch it.
I know to switch it back because notice that every time before we graph our solution, x is always, every time we graph in our solution, x is always to the left. So here, it's not to the left, it's on the right side. So I want to make it such that x is to the left before I graph it. So it makes sense to me when I graph it. So x is less than 9. So graph that for me and send in the pictures of it so I could see what you're doing and hopefully correct it if it's wrong. So x is less than 9. This is a good time to take the register. So this is a good time to take the register. Who is Baddest Jamie? What's the name? I'm not familiar with that name. Baddest Jamie. Okay. No, sir. No, sir. Huh?
Single mark in
Huh? No, I can't move that hotspot. Okay. Alright, so let's just graph it out. So let's do it. So x is less than 9. So if we want to do x is less than 9.
Hold on, can you write it down here?
Oh, no problem.
Do you get mine?
Yes, I got yours.
Okay.
So x is going to be less than 9. So let's graph it out.
Oh, you can mark on the quickness.
No problem.
2 seconds.
I can move it?
You're moving out.
Okay. So you want to graph the inequality x is less than 9. So again, we construct our number line, making sure that 0 is there, and we're going all the way to 9. So we have to make sure that that's clear on our graph. And then on the side, -1, -2, -3, -4. Now notice that we do not have a equal to symbol, it's just strictly less than, right? So what are some numbers that are less than 9? What are some numbers that are less?
Infinity.
8, 7,
8,
6, 5, 4, 0, 0.
very good. So some numbers that are less than 9 is going to be 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All these numbers on the left side of 9, all the way going to the left, continue on forever and ever and ever. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to first circle this the place where the 9 is. Notice that we do not shade it in. All right. And we're going to go and continue on and on and on and on. All right. And so this is the graph of x is less than x is less than 9.
So, Mr. Batiz,
Yes, ma'am.
say if we put a 0 over any of those numbers less than 9, would it be correct?
No, that wouldn't be correct.
Oh, okay.
The 0 must go specifically on 9 itself. Yeah, if you shade in the 0 is wrong. Why you ain't shading the 0, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you shade in the 0, then you know it's wrong. Because if you shade in the 0, that means that we include 9, and here we do not include 9. Alright, so let's see.
So we don't label these, right?
I mean, you could. It's good. It's good practice. But in the exam, they would tell you what you graph in. So they would say graph the solution of blah blah blah. So in that case, you would not have to label it because they specifically say graph the solution of so and so. So in that case, we would not have to label. So we are right with this one. X is less than 9. And this one we got x is less than -6, right?
Yes, sir.
Alright, good. Okay.
What we're doing, we do 13. -13.
I don't want to look at that yet because if I do that, I'll expose another answer that I'm sure I want to give yet. Okay, so let's do this one. This one is interesting. You want to do it or just leave it?
You can do it.
You can do it. All right. Only Altronique or
We can do it.
Yeah, we
do it?
can.
Okay. Sounds like y'all like a challenge, so let's go. All right. That's interesting. It's not too bad, but it just introduces a new idea. Not entirely new, but something that we haven't done yet today. But the general principles are the same. You basically, honestly, to be honest, you're just pretending like this is an equal sign, and you solve it as if you were to solve a algebraic equation, right? Because they're very similar. Okay, so the idea here again is to make x the subject of the inequality. So you want to isolate x on one side, everything else on the other side. Now here it's different. We're not going to cross multiply like we did earlier. We're not going to cross multiply. We're going to do something slightly different than cross multiplying because we want to get rid of that 4.
Are we going to Divided by both sides.
Divided by both sides. What, divide what
I
by
mean,
both sides?
multiply it by both sides. Sorry, the 4.
Why would you multiply both sides by
Divide
4?
4 by both sides.
Yeah, why 4 by both sides? Yeah.
Because
Because
we're
we're
trying
trying
to
to
get rid of the
get rid of the
4
4
on
Trying to
the
get.
near the 4.
I love it. I love it. You're learning, Miss Nancy. I love it. I don't know if you remember where we saw that before, but you're correct. You multiply
You
every
taught me
term.
that, so I kind of.
Oh, okay. All right, good. You mean in them you remember you mean in that BGCSE past paper too with the
Yeah.
yeah. That's good. So the idea is she's right. The idea is that we multiply every term by 4 because we're trying to get rid of this 4 at the bottom. All right, and so we have to multiply this by 4, that's by 4, and that by 4, and I'll get rid of this 4. So let's do that. So we're going to multiply this term by 4. We're going to multiply this term by 4. We're going to multiply this term by 4. Okay, and so the question is, what is 4 times negative 11?
Negative
Negative
44.
44.
Negative what?
44.
Negative
44.
44. Negative 44. Gotta be careful because it is a negative here. When you want to multiply by a negative, you will get a negative.
I only say 44 because you'd already say negative.
Okay. Next up, it's gonna be greater than or equal to. Now this is why we multiply by 4 because this would cancel out with that. You see that? See how we get rid of the 4, right?
Yes, sir.
And so it's gonna be x
I can
plus.
see it, but I don't understand it.
What don't you understand about it?
Like, so anything without the fraction, you just cancel them.
You have to get rid of the fractions one time. Here, we had a fraction, but the fraction on this side, we technically, if you like, for this one here, we were able to cross multiply, right? The reason why we was able to cross multiply because this term had one denominator, all right? So x plus 9 had one denominator, right? And this is one single term, so all we need to do is cross multiply. For this one, we have this term plus 2, so they don't have the same denominator. This is a fraction, this is a whole number. And so we can't just cross multiply. We have to take this term, and this term, and multiply it by the 4, solely to get rid of this 4, solely so that when we come to this term, we could cancel out this 4 and that 4. And then it'll be plus, what is 4 times 2?
8.
8.
8. Any questions on that, Mr. Bethel, before I move on? Like why we...
No, I could just do something on my own later.
Okay, alright. Okay, good.
We could do an answer like this.
Alright, no problem. Who asked that question? I don't recognize the voice.
Why does it look so hard, and when you do it, it sounds so simple?
Okay, the team make it sound like it was so hard.
Honestly.
Okay. I mean, math is easy. Don't make it hard. It's pretty simple. Once you do it often, and then it's the same principles. Then it'll become easy as this. Like if I ask you, what is 5 times 5? What is 5 times 5? 25. Like, did you study that like last night?
No.
No. Like you just know it. Like it is no longer study. It's like you just know it. And so that's how it's supposed to be with these questions. Like you just know it, and that's how it becomes. All right. Okay. So someone's asking, why didn't we shade the circle? Good question. We didn't shade the circle because notice that this is less than. It's not less than and equal to. All right. So that's why we didn't shade it. Okay. But if it was, less than, if it was x is less than or equal to 9, then we would shade it. All right, so better than mine. All right. Someone is asking to join. Solana. Hey, Solana. Are you here?
Good day.
Good day. Boy, we missed you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. And so yeah, so the next thing that we do is what we gonna do here at this point?
Carry the
Carry
8
the
over
8
on the
over
other
on the other
side.
side. Carry the 8 over on the other side. Very good. Why do we carry the 8 over?
So the
So
n
the
can be
n
by
can be by
itself.
itself.
So the x
So
can
the
be
x
by
can be by
itself.
itself. Definitely. So the x can be by itself. So it's going to be negative 44 minus 8 is greater than x. And then what do we do at this point?
We have
We have
to
to
switch it
switch it
around.
around. No, not yet.
Add
Add
44.
44 and 8.
44.8.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with
so what is
negative 50.
And then
negative?
try
And
negative
negative
fifty
Negative
52.
52. Yeah, negative
Abi,
52.
Abi, Paul.
Okay, so you owe someone $44 and you owe a next person $8. How much do you owe altogether?
52.
52.
So, Mr.
So Mr.
Petit,
Petit, you owe, yes ma'am.
um,
Um,
is that
is
only
that
like
only
that
like that
because of
because
how
of
it's
how it's
supposed to
supposed
be,
to be?
and
What you
you
mean?
just
You
don't
just don't
change
change
how it's
how
supposed?
it's
But
supposed, but
I don't know if
I
you
don't know if you
understand what I'm
understand
trying
what
to
I'm
say.
trying to say. No, I try and understand.
Okay,
Go
I
ahead. Okay, I
understand what
understand
you're
what
saying
you're
about
saying about
this, right?
this,
But
right? But
why is
why
it
is it
you're
you're
adding it
adding it
and it's
and
showing
it's
that it's
showing that
negative?
it's
It's
negative?
just
It's
there
just
because
there
that's how
because
it's
that's how
supposed
it's
to
supposed
look?
to look?
Or
Oh, okay. Why, when we add it, it's still negative, is what you're saying?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Because of who's asking the question again? I can't recognize the voice.
Kayleisha.
Kayleisha. Oh, Kayleisha. Okay, good. All right. So that's one of the rules of negative numbers. Like if this is negative and this is negative, right? You could think of it as having an owing. So you could say, okay, well, the negative means I owe someone $44, and this negative means I owe someone $8. And so since I owe 44 and I owe 8, how much I owe in total? Well, I owe, so you still have to keep the negative sign, 52. All right? And so that's the rule when it comes to dealing with negative numbers. When two numbers are negative, you add it, but keep the sign. All right?
I thought
I
a
thought a
negative plus a
negative plus a
negative is
negative is
a positive.
positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. All right? A negative times a negative is a positive. Not a negative and not a negative added, not a negative, not two negative added together. Not like this. All
I
right?
learned
I
two
learned two
negatives make a
negatives make a
positive.
positive. That's when you multiply it. Okay? So if we say negative 4 times negative 2, that's positive 8. All right? So a negative times a negative is positive. But a negative and a negative, just like that, that's going to still give you a negative 12. So be careful.
Moving on.
Moving on. That's the same. Moving on is correct.
No, because I
No,
want
because
you to
I want
finish
you to
this so
finish
I can
this so
ask
I
my
can ask my
question.
question. Okay, all right. No
And you have
problem.
the
And you have
the
the
sign,
sign, say it
the
again.
equal,
The equal,
and you have
and
to
you have
flip
to
the
flip
sign
the
in the
sign in
middle.
the middle. Yeah, so let's do that. So that's the next step. All right, y'all moving ahead. Say, Mr. Petit, you don't have to slow down. We get it. All right. All right. So now we have to flip it. So here we have that negative 52 is greater than or equal to x. So again, negative 52 is bigger than x. So what can we say about x? X is what? X is
Less.
less than or equal to negative 52. Okay? Because negative 52 is bigger than x. So that means that x is smaller. Alright? So let's put it on the inequality. Let's put it on the number line. So we have our number line, and on this number line we have 0, 1, 2. Well, no, let's not do that. Let's just put 0 there. And let's say that we have positive 52. So let's say we have a negative 52 here. Negative 52. Let's say that this is 40. And so we have to circle on top of the negative 52.
And shade it in, right?
And shade it in, yes, and shade it in because of this, all right, because it's equal to. And so we're going to shade that in, shade it all in. And so once we shade it, we are saying that x is less than negative 52. So if we go to the right, these numbers will be bigger. So you're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So where must we shade?
To the left.
To the left. Sorry, where must we put the arrow? To the left. So it's going to be that way. Sorry, let me make sure that that is better. It's going to be to the right. Sorry, to the left rather. So it's going to be this way. Alright, so that's how we graph it. 52, that's a big number. So x is less than or equal to negative 52. And that's our solution. Any questions for me?
Yeah, I was wondering, you see where you have negative 44 is greater than x plus 8? Why couldn't you not just move the x?
Alright, we could have we could have moved the x, right? And if we did, let me allow them to write this down and I can show you what will happen. You could have done it that way. I just didn't want to make it, I just wanted to keep it, you know, as straightforward as possible.
Okay, let me just ask this then. If you swap the negative 44 and x, you automatically switch that sign in the middle.
If you swap it, there's nothing wrong with swapping it. But the problem is that that's gonna be a negative x. You see what I'm saying? Now, so then so you will have a negative x on one side, and on the other side you'll have positive 44, and then you'll say, you know, positive 44 plus positive 44 plus 8, that'll give you 52. But then on the other side you'll have negative x. So then what you'll have to do is you'll have to divide both sides by negative 1, and then you'll switch the sign, and then so you'll still end up with x is less than negative 52. You understand, or you want me to draw it to actually
You say you want to divide both sides by negative 1.
Yeah.
So negative 1 divided by positive 52 is negative 52?
Yeah. Okay. Want me draw it? Write it down for you, so you can actually see.
Not really.
Okay, are you screen? Okay. Anyone else? Any other questions? Speak now. You could ask a question. I don't bite. Alright, so let me know when I can move this. Let me know when I can move it. Hello? Let me know when I can move it.
You was freezing banana.
What? I was frozen? You sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Petit, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Once the number, whether it's a fraction or a whole number, once it's negative, The sign changes, right?
Once you're dividing by a negative. Yeah, once you're be careful with the notion. Once you're dividing by a negative, then you change the sign. Okay?
Okay.
So that's the idea. Go ahead.
Okay, so on my number line, like I was counting in like tens, but leaving a space in between, right? So like if I put it in the middle of like if in the middle of 50 and 60, like somewhere in the middle there, like would that like kind of count?
Label specifically 52 on your diagram.
Okay.
You understand? Label specifically 52, negative 52. Don't leave it up for us to guess. Alright? Alright, so let's do another one. So let's eyeball these now. We're not gonna actually do it unless I see something that I really feel like we should do. But let's eyeball it and to see which technique you would use to do it. So wait, let's see if we was right for these ones. So we did get this right? Negative x is less than negative 52. And number 4, x is greater than negative 2. Did we get those values?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Alright, now let's eyeball the other ones. And you tell me how we would go about doing it. Number 6, how would we go about solving this one?
Cross multiplication.
Cross
You put the 9 over 1, and then you cross multiply.
Then you would cross multiply. Very good. Good. This one, we haven't seen anyone like this one, but how would we do something like this?
Group like terms.
Group like terms. So we would send what over?
8x over 2.
We would send 8x
Negative
over.
x
When we send 8x over, so
becomes positive.
yeah, so we'd send that over. So it's gonna be 8x, right? Minus 6x. Yeah, minus 6x is gonna be what? Greater than
Negative 30.
Yeah, negative 30. What is 8x minus 6x? That's gonna be what?
2x.
2x, yeah. 2x is greater than negative 30. Divide both sides by what?
2.
2.
Divide both sides by 2. And so these two cancel, leaving us with x is greater than, what is negative 30 divided by 2?
Negative 15.
Negative 15. So on our number line, it's going to be, this is negative 15 because this is 0, negative 5, 10. So negative 15 is right here, right? Notice that I actually labeled the negative 15. I don't want the examiners to be guessing where's negative 15, right? I want them to, if they sure about anything, they can be sure that they see negative 15, okay? So make sure that's there. And then we're going to put a circle above it. And then we're going to go to the left or to the right?
To the right.
To the right. Because x is bigger than negative 15. So bigger than negative 15 is going to be like 20, 25, 30. All those bigger than negative 15. So this is the correct answer for this one. Let me know when I can move that.
You're writing that one down?
I mean, if you want to. I mean, it's a choice. That one. We just haven't done anything exactly like this one. So we had to group the like terms and blah blah blah. Okay. Can I move it? Excuse me. Okay, so let's do this. So this is day 2, and let's see who's present here. All right. That's how it's happened sometimes. Day 2 is be like, wondering where all the people going. Day 1, Monday is be strong. Everybody come to class. By the time day 2, be like, I don't know if I want to come to class, But I'm glad that you all made it who are here. That's good. We still have a pretty decent class here. In spite of some persons who are absent. This one is pretty straightforward, and I'll be honest. Something like this is what is more likely to come on your exam. They like to bring stuff like this one. And the reason why they like to bring stuff like this one is because the trick here is that you have to divide by what? You'll end up having to divide by what?
12.
Negative 12. And then when you divide by negative 12, you have to know that you have to do what?
Flip it.
Exactly.
Change
Switch
the sign.
switch the inequality sign. All right. Okay.
Can we
And
do
then
it?
you want us to do this one? Okay, no problem.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Like I say, these ones are the ones that they like to bring on your exams. So right, let me not do that like that. So let's do it. So it's gonna be 12x. So we're gonna send the negative 10 over. All right. So it's gonna be negative 12x is greater than or equal to 26 plus, right? 10, right? Because we changed the sign.
Yeah.
The sign, yeah.
So negative 12x is going to be greater than or equal to, what is 26 plus 10?
36.
Yes,
36.
36. Then we're going to divide both sides by
12.
Negative 12.
Sorry,
negative 12.
negative 12.
Negative 12. We divide both sides by negative 12. So we are dividing by a negative when we're dealing with inequality. So what will happen to the sign since we're dividing by a negative?
So make the flip, the
Yeah, it'll
change
change.
sign.
It'll change. So we change the sign. So x is less than or equal to, what is 36 divided by negative 12?
Negative 3.
Negative 3.
Negative 3. Good. And so this is 0. This is negative 3 right here. So make that very clear on your graph. And then we are going to circle and shade. You're saying? Going to circle and shade it. And so this is going to be, this x is less than or equal to negative 3. So it's less than, x is going to be less than negative 3. So we're going to go to the left or to the right?
To the left.
To the left. Very good. Because we're getting lower and lower and lower, smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay? Just how we operate with this one. Questions, please? Questions? If you have it, let me know.
When do you flip the sign?
When you're dividing both sides by a negative number.
Okay.
Why?
Alright, for now, the short answer. We're just going to say that it's because of the rule. But it's actually a quite intuitive way of why we do it. I'm going to explain that right now, but Just for now, just know that it's because of the
Why
rule.
not?
Because it's not, it'll take a little while to explain, and it's not necessary to know why specifically. That ain't gonna change nothing much. You'll have to go into stuff that I don't want to go into, but just know for now it's the rule. All right. But you'll make a really big mistake if you do not change the sign. The sign, I ain't gonna explain it. No, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that tonight. We ain't going into that.
So your whole graphing can be wrong.
Yeah, your whole graphing could be wrong. Your whole graphing could be wrong.
So they can at least give you points for your working.
Yeah, they'll give you points for your working. Say, okay, yeah.
So just to be clear, even if you don't have to switch the sign, you could. It depends on where you do your algebra problem. You would have to switch it or not, right?
What?
The greater than less than sign.
You always switch it when you're dividing by a negative number. That's standard. The other times when you see us just switch it without dividing by a negative number, that was because we wanted x to be on the left. Okay, but regardless of how you do it, if you end up dividing by a negative number, make sure you switch that sign.
Okay, so how do you make a negative into a positive again? Since you could make a positive to a negative.
What do you mean?
Like, remember how you make the positive 52 to negative 52 by dividing it by -1?
Uh-huh.
So how do you first that?
Well, you could just multiply both sides by a negative. So if like for example, if we had x is, so it's negative x is less than it's less than 52. So if you want to make it a negative, you divide both sides by negative. So if you divide both sides by negative, these two would cancel, leaving us with x is greater than or equal to negative 52. Now, if you want to make it back into a positive, you have to multiply both sides by negative again, and then a negative, multiply both sides by negative. So a negative, this negative along with this negative becomes a positive 52. All right, and then the sign would change, and then this is going to be back to x is less than 52. Okay, so if
we could do that, technically we would never have to switch the sign, right?
You still switch the sign, because the rule is when you're dividing by a negative, you switch the sign. When you're multiplying by a negative, you switch the sign. I didn't switch the sign. Sorry, you're supposed to switch the sign. This is right here. So when you're multiplying by a negative, you switch the sign. When you're dividing by a negative, you switch the sign. Okay, so that's that. Let me move this. Okay, so that's that. So I think we're pretty solid on these stuff. How to solve it and then graph it. Very important for us. We're taking these exams. Now we are going to end off on a quite easy note with translating these inequalities into a verbal phrase. So, no, sorry, translating the verbal phrase into inequality. So if they ask you, or if they tell you that, hey, listen, 5 is not more than x. How would we write that in inequality form? 5 is not more than x.
X is greater than 5.
Okay, let's see. All right, so we're gonna do it step by step. So let's start off by how it says. So 5, we can start off with 5. 5 is not more than x. Give me a number that's not more than x. Sorry, give me a number that's not more than 5. Give me a number that's not
4,
more than 5.
3,
So 4,
2, 1,
3,
negative
2,
1,
1, -1, -2.
1,
0,
right? 0, right? These numbers, so
negative 1,
and so on, right? So these numbers are, they say 5 is not more than x. 5 is not more than x. So these numbers are less than 5. But it says that here, if we look carefully at the wording, it says 5 is not going to be bigger than x. So if 5 is not bigger than x, that means that it is what?
Less than
less
x.
than,
Less than x. Okay? Because say 5 is not more than x. So that means that 5 is less than x. And if 5 is less than x, that means that what? X is
greater than 5.
x is greater than 5. Okay, so these wording stuff, you have to be very paying attention to them, like thinking about it. So x is greater than 5. That's what this is saying. So in the exam, if they say, you know, translate it, or if they put it inside a word problem, they like to do stuff like that, and they put it inside word problems and stuff like that. So you have to know how to translate it. Okay. So 5 is not more than x. That means that 5 is, if it's not bigger than x, it's definitely less than x. So 5 is less than x. Strictly now, notice the symbol that I use, strictly, not the equal to. Alright. Okay, good. Can I move this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
yes, sir.
Alright, so next one, let's go to number 2. Value of x is greater than or equal to 14. So that's straightforward. Value of x is greater than or equal to 14. Anyone?
We
Anyone?
put x and then the greater
Uh,
than equal sign
with the equal
14.
Yes, x is greater than or equal to
14.
14. So value of x is greater than or equal to 14. That's the same. That's how we write that down.
So, Mr. Dupree, they just put the value sign and the value where they confuse us, basically.
I mean, not. Yeah. Okay. To answer your question shortly, yeah. Person may not be familiar with. It's just terminology, you know. That's what we
So
mean.
so in BGCSE, it would read just like this.
I can't tell you how I'm gonna read. I honestly I can't. I don't have the exam in front of me. Um, but it's important to know how to translate these phrases back and forth. All right, knowing that.
Uh,
Go
so
ahead.
what is the value at?
The value of x is unknown, so that's why we use a variable to denote it. I
So
noticed
is
it
it
didn't.
somehow to make it known?
Um, it noticed they didn't say the value of x, and that's very important. They didn't
No,
say
no. I just
the.
asking in general, like you could ever find the value at.
Yeah, you could ever find you could find the value of x. It's just that here x takes on different values. That's the thing, right? It's just a number that's bigger than 14. So it could take on the value of 15. It could take on the value of 16. It could take on the value of 17. But here we just, and that's important, we're referring to a set of numbers that are bigger than 14. All right. Remember, this is an inequality, so it's not
Are
a
we drawing a
equation.
Venn diagram?
No, we don't have to draw a Venn diagram. Why would we need a Venn diagram?
I heard you say set.
Set. So I know what you're talking about. Set of numbers. So set. It contains the numbers 15. Sorry, 14 would be in there. 14, 15, 16, 17, and so on. And x could be any one of these numbers inside the set. All right.
Wait, so this will be the one now that's related to sets?
Yeah, everything is related to sets now. Sets is the foundation of mathematics. Yeah. Give me one moment. I can right back. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, set theory is all over mathematics, man. Maths is nothing without sets. All right. So okay, x is greater than or equal to 12. I think that's straightforward, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So x is greater than or equal to 12. Number 4. 6 is not less, so sorry. 6 is not less than x. What does that mean? 6 is not
X
less.
is greater than X.
Exactly. So if it's not
Very
less,
X is less than 6.
X and this one confirm.
very good. So if 6 is not less than x, that means that 6 is bigger, or 6 is greater than x, because it's not less than. So that means it's bigger, so that means we have 6 is bigger than x. And if 6 is bigger than x, what does that tell you about x? That
X is less than 6.
x is less than 6. Notice that we do not have the equal to, okay? Because we are talking about strict inequalities here. Okay, so this one, value of x is greater than 7. Yeah.
X is greater than
They
7.
compound it. Like
Yeah.
like 6 is not less than x, but also greater than 5.
Yes, that's another dimension that we could have. That's possible. Where you have compound inequalities, that's fine. So value of x is greater than 7. So x is
Greater than
greater than 7. X is greater than 15. So that one is straightforward. X is greater than 15. Okay, let me know when I can move it, because once I move it, everything comes off.
Well, I'm too interested in this.
We good?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Alright. Number 7. X is not more than 13. So if x is not more than 13,
X is less than 13.
x is less than 13. Yeah, because it's not more. So that means that x is less than. So x is less than 13 because it's not more. Okay, so 9 is, they tell us this straight out. So they're saying that 9 is less than or equal to x. So 9 is what? Less than or equal to x, right? And so that means that x is going to be what?
Greater than or equal
Greater
to
than or
9.
equal to x. Great, very good. Greater than or equal to 9. So that's the answer. X is greater than or equal to 9. Next we
Mr.
have.
BG, you always supposed to start with X?
That's how. Yes, but let's just say that. Let's just say that we always start with X. It's just
Okay.
easy to work with that way. All right. Always start with X. Okay. Value of X is at. I like this one. Value of X is at least 1. Value of X is at least 1. Think about that.
So it
So
said it's less than what?
Say it again.
So it said it's less than or equal to what?
It's
No.
just 2? It's the same value? I don't know.
That's
It's at
equal to
least.
what?
It's no. Okay. Let's look at the number line.
That
Right.
says greater than or equal.
Very good. That's it there. Because if we look at the number line, right, we have 0, we have 1, we have 2, and we have 3, we have 4, and so on, right? So if you want to say that your X is at least 1, that means that your X could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4, but it can't be 0 because you have to have at least 1. It's just like saying, I have at least $1 in my pocket, at least $1. So that means that you can't have $0. You have to have at least $1. So
Really basically saying you can't pass one on the number line.
no, you can't pass one number line. So but you have to include 1 because you could have $1. So, but you could also have $1,000. If someone say, how much money you have in your pocket? Well, I have at least $1. So that means that they could have $1, $2, $3, $4, $5. But if they say they have at least $1 in their pocket, and then you check their pocket and they only have 50 cents, then they lied. All right. So at least 1 means you have at first you have to have 1 and moving upwards. Okay. So at least 1.
With the number line, you'd have to be whole numbers, right?
If they would have to be whole numbers,
Yeah.
when you're graphing it, only consider whole numbers. But it don't have to be whole numbers in terms of if we think of it in a broad sense. This is a number line. It's a real number line. It contains all real numbers. But if you're drawing a number line, an integer number line, then sure, only integers are gonna be on it. But if you're drawing a real number line, then you could have the decimals in there. But for our purposes, we are not going to talk about the decimals, and because we are, as a general rule, when they give it to you all, they keep it round and whole.
What they call it again in the set? Like when you have like positive, negatives, whole numbers. This is rational
Numbers, yes, rational numbers, yes.
How would you write it out, Mr. BG? The value of X is at least 1.
So X is bigger than or equal to, right? 1. All right. At least 1. All right. The value of X is less than 14. So X is strictly less than 14. Okay. Let me know when you're ready. Done? Okay, good. Okay, good. So let's check our answers. We still have more?
It's more?
Yeah, I didn't realize there were more. I'm just gonna do the interesting ones. I like number 14. Value of X is at most 8. What does that mean? Value of X is at most 8.
Is 8 the singular?
It
Say it
says
again.
X
Axis
is less
less
than
than
or equal to 8.
8.
You say x
Less,
is
right?
you say x is less than or equal to 8. Well, let's see. So we say that it have to be at most 8. So it cannot be bigger than 8. So if we go on a number line, right? We go on a number line, we have 0 here. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3, and we go all the way to 8, right? Remember, that's saying that, hey, it could be less than 8, right? But it cannot be bigger than 8 because x is at most. The highest number it's going to get is 8. So if someone asks you how much money you have in your pocket, you say, friend, I have at most $8. What does that mean?
Now,
Means you got up
Close
roughly half
to
a million.
8.
Yes, exactly. So that means that the highest amount of money you have in your pocket is $8. Like you won't have no more than $8. Like that's the highest. That's at most that you have. You ain't sure what you have, but whatever it is, it ain't more than $8. Like someone say, how much money you have in your bank account? You say, well, I have at most 5,000, right? That means that I don't know how much I have, but it ain't bigger than 5,000, right? So at most means that it's going to be the highest number, that which is 8. The highest number is going to be 8, and everything is going to be less than 8. So here x is less than or equal to 8. It could be 8 or less than 8, but never bigger than 8. Okay? Is that clear?
No.
So
No?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What you
Yes,
don't
sir.
understand?
How could it be clear if it's still a vague answer because you still don't know what it is?
It is, when I say clear, I mean, is the concept clear? I don't mean, because, okay, remember, it's very important. Remember what this is an answer to, and this is important, Mr. Bethel. Inequalities, the solution of inequalities could be a point or a set of points. That's very important. Okay? So here, this solution is a set of points, and x could take any value any value in that set. Okay? So you know that if someone say that they have at most $9 or at most $8, they're saying that it's no higher than $9 or no higher than $8. It could be any number in between. All right.
Yeah, I understand that part, but I can't understand like why the incomplete equation define x.
Why?
Why the equation is incomplete so you could find x zero.
Because it's not an equation. It's an inequality. So inequality, the solution, the answer is a set of numbers. That's the answer, right?
Okay, so the set of our numbers is the answer,
Is the answer, exactly. The set of numbers is the answer. All
but
right.
but you can never know which one.
Yeah. You just know that these numbers satisfy individually. They satisfy the equation. So, for example, if I say give me a number less than because the idea is that there's more than one number that works. You understand what I'm saying? So we can't say that x is only 5 because if we say x is only 5, well, not only 5 is less than 8.
I think it would make more sense if it had a compound on it.
A compound, what do you mean?
Like value x is at most 8, but not less than -3, something like that.
I understand what you're saying, but then number one, that's still a set of values, and then you're still trying to pinpoint one value. That's not the idea with inequalities. The idea of inequalities is that tell me how much values there are that fit this inequality. That's the idea. So there are more than one values that will work. So they want you to tell them which values will work for that inequality. All right. So the answer is a set of numbers, as opposed to equations where the answer is one specific number that you could pinpoint. All right. Okay, so all right, so these other ones are straightforward. Someone else is asking to join. All right, Fonte. Okay, so with that being said, I am going to, let's see if we could find one more exercise on inequality. All right, translating words. We already did that. That's straightforward. This one has a little interesting step to it. Let's see. All right, translating sentences. We already did that, but this is more. This would be a good one to do. They funny with these. All right, so we're just gonna write it out. They say here 2/3 of the sum of x and 4 is greater than 9. So how would we translate that phrase into inequality? 2/3 of the sum of x and 4 is greater than 9.
Is 2/3.
Think about it.
Is it 2/3 plus x
Plus X.
is greater than 4? Like the greater sign than 4?
No. Notice what it says. Listen to it carefully, right? Listen to what it's saying carefully. It says 2/3, right?
Okay. Is it 2/3 X?
No. They're saying 2/3 of something. 2/3 of something.
2/3 plus x.
No.
4. No.
Would it be x at the beginning? And
It's saying, okay.
2/3 is larger.
That means plus 4x is greater than 9.
No. All right.
would it be
Let's
x
over
minus 4
2/3.
is greater than 9?
say it again.
Would it be x plus 4 is greater than 9?
That's so close. That's so
Correct.
close. Yeah, that's close.
Whatever percentage is it?
2/3 plus X plus
4.
4 is greater than 9.
No. Okay. You have to understand their
Are you
language, right?
multiplying it or something? Like 2/3 within the equation?
Okay, good. Okay, I like
Correct.
that. I like that. So you multiply. I like that word. Good. What are you multiplying though?
What you multiply like the
Would it
2/3
be
plus
X
x
plus 4
plus 4 is
X
greater
plus
than
4?
9?
Oh, I don't know if I'm hearing it because you're muffled. But here's the idea. But you very close. Remember what of means? Of means that we what? That we are going to multiply. Right?
Multiply.
So they're saying 2/3 of. So first thing you do, you say 2/3
2/3.
of something. Of what? The sum. Right? So
And
2/3
plus
of
4.
a sum, right? So we have 2/3 of a sum. So what of means? Of is multiply. What is the sum? What is the sum?
X plus 4.
X plus
Is
4.
greater than 9.
So the sum is x plus 4. And that is going to be what? Greater than?
Greater than 9.
Strictly greater than 9.
I almost had that.
All
I
right.
had the X in front of 2/3.
Now, we could simplify this further. So it's going to be the 2 multiplied by the x That's going to be what? 2x.
2x.
The 2 multiplied by the 4. That's going to be what?
8.
8. And the 3 multiplied by the 1. Here, that's going to be 3. It's going to be greater than 9.
9.
And so that's the inequality that we have. All right. So 2/3 of this sum, x plus 4, is greater than 9. That's what they're trying to say. Any questions for me? If you're not speaking, please turn off the mic. So 2/3 of this sum. Okay. Let me know when I
Is
put
it
in
like
mic.
completed? The equation.
The inequality is complete. We could, of course, we could simplify the inequality. I'm not going to simplify the inequality now.
No, I'm talking.
But how would we simplify this inequality? What method we would use? Cross multiply, yeah. Cross multiplication. All right. So, can I move it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's. I want to check our answer though. I want to see. Yeah, we on point. 2/3 of the sum is greater than 9. Good. For us, we just multiplied it out. Very good. Okay, good. So I want to straightforward. Let's do the other one. 3 added to 9. Sorry, added to 2/9 of x is at least 1. 3 added to 2/9 of x is at least 1.
So 3 plus 2/9.
3
Really
added
be
to.
that complicated?
It is
3
complicated.
3 plus 2/9.
I like that.
2/9 of x. So that'll be like x 2/9 x is
Very good.
was greater or at least. At least would be like equal to. So it would be equal to 1. Equal or.
All right, so we know 3 is going to be added to something. All right, it's going to be added to 2/9. Right, so 2 plus 2/9. Right, 2/9 of x. So that means we're going to multiply the x here.
Multiply.
So 2/9x is at least 1. So if we say at least 1, that means that we could be equal to 1, right? But we can't be bigger than 1. But can we be greater than at least 1? So if you're at least 1, you could be greater than 1.
Greater. You're gonna be
Okay, so it's
greater.
going to be greater than 1. So 3 added to 2/9 of x is at least 1. So that means that you could be 1 or you could be bigger than 1. So 3 added to 2/9 of x is at least 1.
That's the answer?
Yeah, that's the answer.
Greater than or equal to.
Pardon?
I thought it was going to be greater than or equal to 1.
It is greater than or equal to 1.
I thought it's going to be greater or less.
I mean, less than.
It can't be less than because we're dealing with at least. So at least means that it could be that number or bigger than the number. Okay?
So that was in the same most thing when it
Yeah, it'd say most. Yeah, it'd say most when we do. Let me do the last. Okay. Okay, so I can leave the other two for homework. Product of x and 7 subtracted from 1/5 is less than 2. And 3/4 x plus 12 is less than or equal to 8. Do them two tonight and send them to me, especially those people who are leaving at 8 o'clock. Do those two for me and send them. Now, please send in the math notes, all of them. And if you are not doing health science or general science, you are free to leave. But if you are doing health science and general science, then you must remain for a lively discussion. All right.
Trying to read them alpha.
I didn't
Pardon?
finish writing
I wasn't finished
all
writing
the
all the
questions
questions,
you
but
were
see.
writing.
Wasn't finished writing? Oh man, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry.
I'll take a screenshot.
You mean the homework?
Yes, so.
Okay. I just said that these two, right? Number 3 and number 4. So we move on
Okay, I
to.
finished.
We're
Mr.
moving on
Petit,
to. Yes, ma'am.
are we off this week?
No, you're
As
not
in,
off. You're not off. I could
for real?
send. I'm gonna make up for the other 2 days. I just didn't get around to sending them to you. But
No, we can take our time. We can
no.
take a week.
I can't take a week. So my chemistry, bio,
It's
and
not
um my chemistry people, I haven't forgotten you all. My bio people, I haven't forgotten you all. I already record them, It's just sending them to you and
okay. So we
uploading
have
them. And my
bio, math, and
yeah,
English. Anything for English?
no, none for English. My extended math people too. I haven't forgotten you all. It's just that I haven't uploaded. No, I have uploaded it. It's just sending it. That's it. So I have to send it to you all. Forgive me, 100%. But I'll send it. I was thinking about sending it tonight, but I'm like, it'll be too late. So I probably will send it first thing in the morning, or if you see it early in the morning, please forgive me. That's just the time I was able to send it. All right.
So if
Okay,
we
that's
don't do
nice.
laptops, that means we don't have class by 4 a.m.?
You gonna have class on Saturday? You wanna have class on Saturday?
No,
Can I just
No,
ask
I'm just
again?
asking.
uh, no. I mean for them. Um, I mean for them. That's my bio students. I don't think you are part of that, eh? Bio and chem and extended math people. I suppose send them from stuff from Monday, and today is Tuesday. So, all right. Oh, physics. Oh boy, physics. Yes, and physics. You're right.
When they mention physics, it's my time to leave.
Yeah, I just that physics. I mean, physics is not hard. It's just getting around to it. But yeah, I have this. It's only two of you I have for physics, and so I have to make sure that you all are straight. Um, yes, physics as well.
Only two people don't like the challenging.
uh, but physics was nice. I did like physics when I was in high school. Physics was nice. Physics is when you really get to see what math could do. You know. Um, okay, so let's begin. We're gonna begin with general science first. Um, and I did that especially for Miss Cooper, who like to leave us in the high and dry.
Mr. Petit, you want me to come back because I go in health science.
Who's that?
And reading.
Anvernique McDonald?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You could come back or you could stay. It's up to you.
I can stay because Mr. Petit, you tell us the last time you tell us one time when I didn't come, y'all was done almost finished. Look like
Yeah. So
you was start early and you tell us.
yeah. So it's up to you. Okay, so let's begin with the general. I want to do general first. I'm so sorry. Okay, these files. So let's begin. General science. Okay, so general science today. The last time we did general science, anyone can remember what we was talking about the last time we did general science? Before I
Tell
Last week
me.
we
oh
talked about
sorry.
diseases.
No, that's health. General science. I gave it away already. We was talking about the natural sciences, remember? We said that science can be broken down into how much categories? How much main categories?
Mr. Petit, this is health or general?
General. This general. We started off with general.
I don't remember exactly. I got the notes on how many, but I know there's a lot, and they branch from each other.
And they branch from each other. So we are saying that. Let me see you all in there in this class right now. Is Lionel there? All right. Welcome, Nathan. We are just beginning.
Tell me that was general last class?
No, that was health. I started first with I'm starting first with general this time.
I thought that color blindness thing was in health.
That's health, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's health. Okay, so the last time when we did general science, we were talking about the sciences, the two sciences. Sciences could be broken down into two groups, right? Oh, my camera's not on. Sorry.
Excuse me, Miss. We doing any health science today?
Yeah, we doing it at 8:30.
Okay.
Yeah, so we said that sciences could be broken down into two: social sciences and natural sciences. The social science deal with stuff like what? Social sciences.
Religion, history,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, religion, history, economics, those sort of stuff.
geography.
Politics.
Yeah, politics. Right, and then the natural science deal with, what we really call the sciences, like those rigorous sciences. And then we
Biology.
broke, and then
Biological.
we broke the natural sciences into three categories. Anyone can remember those three categories?
Physics.
No, physics wasn't a main one. The three
Hold
main
on a
ones.
second.
The three main ones. Oh, come on, people. This is just last week.
Geography or something like that.
Botany.
Biology,
Oh
Botany.
yeah, we have
physical sciences, and the earth
Zoology.
sciences. Yeah,
Oh, those ones.
yeah. Now we broke biology down into two: botany and zoology. What is botany?
Study of plants.
The study of plants. What is zoology?
the
Study of
study of
animals.
Study of animals. We broke physical sciences into two. And what were the two for physical sciences?
Physics and chemistry.
Physics and chemistry. Very good. And then earth sciences, we had four of them. One of them was astronomy. What is astronomy?
the study of stars.
The study of stars, celestial
Celestial
objects. Yeah. Then we talked about geology. What is that? Geology.
Study of the Earth's crust.
The study of the Earth's crust. Very good. And then we talked about meteorology. What is that?
Study of weather.
The study of the weather and climate. Yeah. And oceanography, which is the what?
Ocean.
The study of the oceans. And this is how our graph end up looking. Nice, pretty graph at the end of the day, covering the branches of science. Now we are going to discuss the simple laboratory apparatus. Oh, only few people. I'm glad I saw this. A lot of y'all need detention. Only few people did my homework.
I did your homework.
Yes, I saw that.
Me too.
So,
I just didn't send the picture. My bad.
Technically, there's many jobs that are not related to science.
yes, true. There's not much job that is not related to science, right? But when we talk about these jobs, we want to make sure that, especially when they ask you in the exam, like which jobs are related to science, like choose jobs that are clearly, like unambiguously related to science. Like it's a clear thing. Like for example, the doctor. For example, a chemist. For example, a botanist.
Laboratory
Those
technician.
the laboratory technician.
A vet,
Those a veterinary.
Meteorologist.
Meteorologist, right? Those jobs are clearly related to
politician.
social science, eh? Um, but those jobs are directly related to the natural sciences. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about for today. We're gonna talk about laboratory apparatus. Very important to know these ones. They come up in a multiple choice. So simple. Sorry. Let's set up properly. Today is Tuesday, the 25th of January, 2022. The subject is of course general science, and the um, topic is simple laboratory. Whose mic is that?
Sorry.
Please mute your mic, please. Simple laboratory apparatus. What is an apparatus, by the way?
An instrument.
An instrument or it's a tool. Yeah, it's a tool. All right, a device, something that we use to do a project. All right. Okay, so let me go back to it. Where were we? Here. Okay, so let's move on. So the first one that we talk about, the one that is used so much, is let me not finish it. Can anyone think of it before I do it?
Beaker.
Beaker. All right. So beakers can they could be made out of
Glass.
plastic or glass, right? And what we use them for? They are used to do a
Whole and mixed substances.
yes, very good. Hold and mix substances and
And measure.
measure. All right. We use them to hold and mix substances and measure. So when you pour a substance inside the beaker, you look at the meniscus. Let me show you what I mean. So let's go and get an example or a picture of a beaker. So beaker image. So a beaker looks something like this. Hopefully everyone has seen something like this. What is this one, by the way? Is this a beaker?
No, I can't remember what it is.
Canonical Flask.
Canonical Flask, yeah. Canonical Flask. But that isn't a beaker. Okay, so let's go. So this is a good example of it. So we can see here the different units. And ml is milliliters or milliliters. And this is a measurement of what? When we have
Liquid.
ml. Measure of liquid, but what of liquid? What property of liquid is that a measurement of?
Mass.
Not mass. No, not mass.
It's not matter.
Volume.
Volume, yeah, volume. Or capacity. Okay. Alright, so here's our beaker, and then we look at the The meniscus is this line right here. All right. It's when you look at, okay, let me see if I give you a good example. They like to bring questions like this, at least for this one. I don't know if they do it for general science, but I know for physics, they like to ask this question. They would say, where would you read it? So meniscus, oh, wrong. Meniscus, a beaker. Oh, let's make that very clear. All right, good. So here's the thing, right? So when you're reading a instrument, when you're reading a beaker or a test tube, whatever, the liquid is going to form like a C shaped, like in this one, right? Now when you're making the measurement, you don't want to read on this side, like above the meniscus. You don't want to read on this side. You want to make sure square your eyes directly on where it's at the bottom of the meniscus. That would give you the proper reading. All right. So for example, for this one is teaching you how to read it. The measurement is not 50. All right. Neither is it 49. Okay. What is the accurate measurement of this?
39.
48. 48.
48.
Why 48? Because 48 is at the bottom of the meniscus. Okay, so you always read at the bottom of the meniscus when you're reading these things. Okay, so that's a question that they like to put, how to read stuff when you have it for when you're measuring.
So
Okay.
meniscus, why there? Sounds like thing
It's
with
just
light.
something that's naturally formed. Like if you pour something inside like for example this measuring cylinder, right? It'll automatically form this U shape at the sorry, this C shape here. That just happens automatically, you know. And so when we reading stuff so that everybody could have a accurate reading, we make sure that it's it's the measurement that we take is at the bottom of the meniscus. Okay, we make sure that that's there.
Also, when you're reading this meniscus, isn't it like a proper eye length? You gotta read it that too.
Yeah, the eye length is square to the bottom of it. All right, and you have to make sure that your eye is level with what you're reading. You don't want to go too high or too low. So this is a beaker. I'm sorry that we have it like this. So beaker, they are used. This is a nice picture. I like this picture of the beaker. Very pretty. So because they are made of liquid or gas, they are used to, like we said, hold. They are used to hold or mix substances. All right, and also measure them. And when you say substances, especially liquids, though. So especially. All right. So the next one that we're gonna talk about is so we talk about the beaker. So this is a holding or measuring instrument. The next thing is the canonical flask, like we saw before. The same thing with the beaker. It's used to measure and hold stuff. Anyone ever use this in real life or saw it in real life?
No,
A
sir.
canonical?
I
No.
saw it before.
You saw it in real life.
I saw it in real life.
Okay. When you get into if you plan to move on with science and you get into chemistry class, hopefully your teacher is kind enough to let you use their canonical flask. Let's see.
So when comes to plastic speak.
That's when you get in grade 10.
So what I was almost finished writing the top piece.
You wasn't finished writing the top piece? Okay.
No, so
Let's go. We good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so next we have, like we say, the conical rather, flask.
Oh, I wasn't finished with that writing yet.
Wasn't finished with the writing either? Okay, make sure.
Yeah, my speaking is going so fast.
Fast. Alright, what I could do is I could make this picture shorter so that we could be looking at it at the same time so we would have no problems. Alright, so canonical flask. So again, these are used to hold, mix, and measure liquids. But the beaker is used most often though, because the beaker have a a more easily accessed shape. Okay, the next one that we're gonna look at is, anyone ever used the dropper before? The dropper,
I
or
have
who said that?
Michaela.
Okay, yeah, I remember
I've used
using
all
the.
these things.
Go ahead.
I've used all of these things.
Oh, you've used all of them. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's very good. The dropper or the teeth pipette. Boy, I remember using that. That was one of the most horrible experiences of my life. And you may be wondering why. The reason
Isn't
is,
that like a turkey base though?
say it again.
Okay, isn't it like a turkey base though?
A turkey.
Turkey base though.
I get belly. I don't understand what you're saying.
He said a turkey base stuff. If it's like that.
No, I don't know. I don't even know what that is.
You don't know what that is?
No, I'm a vegan. Remember, that's why.
Yeah.
You are vegan?
Yeah, I am vegan too. I don't eat
I
the
could
meat.
never, I could never say that.
No, don't say that. All right, so it wasn't my mommy is wrong. It wasn't a dropper that we used. We used something, and it's similar to a dropper. We used a device, right, whereby we had the count, and this is why it was horrible. For our chemistry coursework, we had to count the number of drops that was coming through that I can't even remember what they call that thing, but the drops was coming, and you had to count, and you couldn't miscount, and so I would count, and then I reached like a certain number, I would forget what number I on, and I have to start all over again.
I
And
actually did that before.
that was horrible. I'm like,
I
cause
remember my first time using one.
I actually did that before.
okay, yeah, I remember that. That was so these are luck. I was like the stuff that you do with the eye, and this is stuff that they use for thing when you putting eye medication.
It's Miss Patel, can I be excused for a moment, please?
Yeah, sure. So to deliver, so we use these when we're dealing with small things, all right, and we wanna take a small volume of a liquid, and we don't want to take a lot, so we use this, so dropper. So use to deliver a small volume of a liquid. Um, Usually made of glass or plastic as well. And it's not only to deliver it, but also to measure too. That's also important. This is also a measuring instrument. All right, we use this to measure these things. All right, next up we have um, an evaporating dish. Or no, let's talk about the filter funnel. I like the filter funnel. Let's talk about that. Um, filter funnel. Anyone know what a filter funnel is?
It's like
Yes, so people use that like for coffee.
For coffee? Coffee?
Oh, sorry,
I
no, so I come up with the wrong thing like
oh
And you could use it for coffee if you have the coffee grounds,
uh-huh.
and you could pour the hot water over the coffee grounds through the filter funnel.
Oh yeah.
I can also use that for salt water to make fresh water.
Yeah, apparently
Salt
that's what I'm
water?
supposed to.
Not salt water. Not
I mean,
salt
it's
water.
sand and water.
Sand and water. Sand and water. Sand and water. Okay. So this is used to separate insoluble. Do I spell that right? Yeah, insoluble solids mixed in a mixed in a I should say instead of mixed we could say suspended in a liquid. So there's certain things, certain words here. When we say insoluble, we mean that it does not dissolve, right? Does not dissolve. And when we say suspended, it's floating around. So, for example,
Or is that an emulsion?
say it again.
Is that an emulsion?
Emulsion. Uh, I when I write this, I particularly thinking about the more common ones, so like like the sand and water. It's insoluble because the sand does not dissolve in the water. Okay. Another example would be pebbles in water. And of course that's insoluble because the pebbles does not dissolve into the water. Give me another example of an insoluble solid in a liquid.
Soil and water.
Dipping
Soil.
your finger in the water.
Uh, I guess so. I mean, I wanted something more common though, but soil and water. Um, we have pebbles. How about Skittles? I was just telling my students today that I haven't seen Skittles in forever. When's the last time y'all saw Skittles?
But and
I guess
A
2 years
year
ago.
ago.
the food
Last
coloring
last
in the
year.
Skittles.
Yeah, the food coloring in the Skittles would
Yesterday
dissolve.
I saw Skittles.
But the actual solids themselves in and happening with them. Okay. So for these ones we could use a filter funnel to to separate um this mixture. Okay. So let me show you how it looks. Pretty straightforward apparatus. So filter funnel. What is the process called of using the filter funnel? What do we call that?
Filtration.
Filtration. Very good. I want to show you exactly what's happening. This is a good one. This is a good example. So here we have filter paper. Okay, so we have filter paper, and this apparatus here is inside what? What is it inside of?
Conical flask.
A
A
conical
conical
flask.
a conical flask.
So we have this filter funnel inside this conical flask with the filter paper. The filter paper is what we're gonna use to capture the solid. So when you put this mixture of whatever you have in there, let's say it's sand and water, the sand is going to be captured into the filter paper and the liquid is going to go down. Okay. So that's how we use a filter funnel, and that process is called filtration. Excuse me. All right, next up we have a measuring cylinder.
Or graded cylinder.
Yeah, a
Or
graduated.
graduated cylinder.
Yeah, graduated cylinder. People that say it like that. And for the same thing that we use it's 8:30 already. Wow. For the same thing we use the beaker and conical flask for. We use them for to hold, mix, and measure liquids. And so how does it look?
More accurately.
More accurately, because it's more it's more it's more it's how should I say it? It has a smaller units, right? So because it has smaller units, you are able to see closely to see um exactly what the volume of the water or volume of the liquid is. So measuring cylinder, let's see, let me show you what I mean. Let me saw this before. If you look carefully at it, you see how smaller the units are, all right, as opposed to the beaker. If we look at the beaker, so let me show you a picture of a beaker, right, that we saw earlier. If you look at our beaker and you look at the units on the beaker, this goes from 250 to all the way to 300. So this gap is a gap of 50 in between, okay? And so it's a huge gap. And so you would have to approximate, you have to do a lot of approximation for this type of apparatus if you're trying to measure it. But with a measuring cylinder, it gives you a more accurate reading because of the smaller units and the small and how it's more of the slices are identifiable, right? So all these lines here showing you the different units or the different numberings, so that you could be able to precisely say how much volume inside. Sorry, how much volume the liquid has, or the capacity of the fluid. Sorry, why did I do it again? So measuring cylinder. Alright, so for homework, what I want you to do is I want you to list 3 other simple laboratory apparatus that we did not talk about tonight, that was not discussed tonight, and tell me what it and state its function. Alright, so tell me what it is and state its function. And if you want to send a picture of it, that's also nice, but send it nice, but also send it through my WhatsApp. Excuse me, we didn't talk about a very important one, and that's the. Anyway, let me not give you any hints, but a very important one we missed out tonight. But give me 3 more. and said it before, on or before
What it
Tuesday.
start with?
Start with T.
Okay, I know.
You know. Yeah. All right. So health science. So last time we was on health science, we was talking about hereditary diseases, and we talked about color blindness, sickle cell, anemia. Um, we also talk about Down syndrome. Anyone can remember those things?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You remember?
Miss Cooper.
Smart. I mean, yes, sir.
So I become a mom already.
I understand that.
You was here all along, or
Yes,
you
sir.
just come back? Okay.
I was here listening. I felt like
Listening.
that was pretty long, but
You felt that. Why you ain't taking general? That's my question.
I don't. I gotta say that now.
Huh?
I don't know. I should have, but I don't know.
Yeah, general is easy. General is easy, right? Everyone who's doing general.
Yes,
Yeah, especially
general is
for
very
me.
easy.
Yeah, general is very easy.
Depends on the government.
And a lot of general inside health science too.
Yeah, that's the thing, and vice versa. Well, no. General, you could find health in general. Um, Finding general and health is more difficult. But if you're doing health science, better you do it general, because in the general science BJC they have health science topics. It's crazy. Yeah. Alright, so we
Big 10
still.
points questions.
I know, right? That surprised me. I was like, wow, this is like interesting. Um. Okay, so health science.
Since we're on health science, I want to ask you. You said you're a vegan.
Okay, let me correct myself. I because vegan means, if we be technical by the definition, it's a whole ideology, right? It's a whole belief system. I eat like a vegan. That's probably the best way you could say. I'm more
Okay, so you
plant-based.
only eat plant-based, right?
Yeah, plant-based. Yeah.
So where do you get your source of vitamin B12?
Where do I get my source of vitamin B12? Um, Vitamin B12 is not a problem. But me personally, I don't worry about it. So I don't go out my way to get vitamin B12. But persons who worry about it, they take supplements and vitamins. Um, it is true that vegans tend to be deficient in vitamin B12. That's one of the um, one of the facts. Um, but it's not that the vegan diet doesn't supply it. Um, it's just that you have to be intentional. Um, but I don't go my way to say, okay, try to get vitamin B12. Just as much as I don't go my way to say, try to get vitamin, B6 or something. I just eat the way I eat, and I know that diet is adequate for all stages of life, so it don't bother me.
You don't want to eat something else sometimes.
No. I
Listen,
mean,
I have a question. What do you
go ahead.
What do you think is easier, general or health?
Health, definitely.
Thank you.
Health is
Well, it's
easier.
the opposite for me.
Is the opposite for you?
Yes,
Well,
because I used to love general science. I was
in
in science club, and I would get like these little science kits.
oh, okay. All right,
Like
that
It
would
gave
be
me an obsession.
okay. All right, okay then. Well, then they would be easier, but yeah. So remember we talked about we said that there are different categories of diseases. The first category of diseases that we talked about was, can anyone tell me that with the color? Hereditary, right? There is another category of diseases that we have to talk about, which is deficiency diseases. All right, so these are when you're deficient in some nutrient, and it's interesting that he brought it up tonight about being deficient in a nutrient, because that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. That's interesting, right?
So
Anyway,
you deficient
deficiency.
in a nutrient?
I don't know. I mean, I don't believe I am, um, but um, deficiency diseases. I haven't gone to the hospital to check my blood, but vegans, those diets, plant-based diet done right, um, you could supply all their nutritional needs. Um, but done wrong, you get into some problems too. Okay,
Alright.
so say it again.
I say okay.
Yeah. So these are diseases, deficiency diseases. We just talked about it in short. These are diseases that comes from a lack of not having something, right? So these are diseases caused by a lack or a lack of or insufficient, right? Insufficient number, sorry, or insufficient, let's say insufficient amount, okay? Insufficient amount of a nutrient in the diet. So deficiency diseases comes from a lack of a nutrient in the diet. Now, when we say diet, we're not talking about, if someone say, well, I going on a diet, right? When we say diet in health science, what do we mean?
Like
The
having
consumption,
eating.
Yeah, your diet is
your
what
food
you eat.
consumption.
Yeah, your food patterns. So your diet, if I say my diet, or if I say I have a vegan diet, that doesn't mean that I am on a vegan, you know how it's a vegan diet for losing weight. No. When I say I am on a vegan diet, that means that I eat like a vegan. If someone say they have a plant-based diet, that means that that's the way they eat. They eat things from plants. If someone say that they have a meat-centric diet, that means that their diet consists mostly of meat. If someone say that they have
Yeah,
a
and those people called ketone dieters,
yeah, ketone diets. Ketone diet is more like with protein, high in
like
protein, right?
strictly meat.
Right. So a diet is not necessarily in this sense. When we say diet, we're just talking about what you eat. Your food pattern. So a diet is whatever a person eats. So not in the sense of a diet like um, a diet like for losing weight or something. Um, Now the good thing about deficiency these diseases is that this is a good thing, is that these disorders, this is a good thing about this deficiency diseases. These disorders are often easily cured by what? How can we cure deficiency disease?
By eating
By eating more of the things
foods
that
or
you
nutrients you lack.
Exactly, by eating more of the things that you lack. So these disorders are often easily cured by supplying the missing nutrient. Right, so that's the good thing. It's very important to know that each type of nutrient that you have. So each type of nutrient, someone's asking to join, I imagine. No? Okay. So each type of nutrient, just go to back here. So each type, I didn't have each type. Yeah, each type of nutrient, all of them are important. Alright, so each type of nutrient, each type of nutrient helps the body, the entire body, to work properly. Right, so that's why we don't want to be deficient in anything, because all of them work together to make sure the body working properly. So these diseases, so who do you think are more likely to have these diseases? Where do you think these diseases are most prevalent?
In poor countries.
In poor countries.
Who don't eat like that?
Yeah, people who don't eat. And why is
Okay.
it it's more prevalent in poor countries because of
Their
because they
restricted diet.
exactly. So they don't have the funds to get, you know, um to get starch, protein, the salad. They don't have the option to be getting, beets and, carrots, and then they get the quinoa, and then you get the barley, the buckwheat, and all these things. Like they don't have the options to get all these variety that we have here, say in the city, and so they have a restricted diet. They have a diet that is narrow and only contains a few things, and so um, and sometimes it may not be anything at all. And so, um, and so with that type of diet, they can end up, being deficient. So these diseases mostly affect, and also which age group you think is usually affected by these the most?
Younger.
Children,
The young children. Why? Why the young children?
because they not knowledgeable first of all, and they can't defend by themselves.
Yes, that's true, but there's a stronger reason that the children
Um,
get it.
they're picky eaters.
They're picky eaters. That's funny. No.
Their immune system mean that's strong.
Okay, you're hitting at it, Miss Neely. Close. But not
Their
necessarily the
body
immune
ain't
system.
developing or something.
Exactly, their body is not feeling deficient developed. So, if say for example, someone like me, um, I'm basically fully developed, right? I ain't growing any taller than I am now, as a general rule. Um, there's not much more development that I need. And so if I don't have protein for like, say 5 weeks, sure, I'll get smaller or whatever, but I'll still remain my height, I could still easily, quickly, regain what I lost. But for a baby or for a young small child, they are so young, so they really need these essential nutrients at that particular time. And if they don't have that at that particular time, that could ruin them for life. All right, that could ruin them for life. And so their bodies are particularly sensitive to these deficiency diseases because they haven't built a strong enough system yet. You know, and so that's the thing. So these diseases mostly affect small children from poor countries with little food or situations. So you may have a rich country where people are deficient because, a disaster could happen, all right? Or situations of drought and of war, okay? All right. So war, if there's war happening in the country, why I keep on hearing that? I don't know. Someone keep on coming in and out. I don't know why I keep on hearing that sound. But anyway, let's go. So poor countries, little food, or where you have drought. What is drought? If we say of drought, what is drought? Drought is what?
When there's no water.
No water. Yeah, no water. So
Sound like Afghanistan.
yeah, those eastern countries. You're right. All right. So, but also could happen to us too. The hurricanes. When the hurricanes happen, and persons don't have supply of food, all right, that could cause them to be deficient for a time. All right, so let's move forward. So we're gonna construct a table. The first heading is gonna be the disorder. They love to ask these questions on these exams. What caused the disorder? The effect of the disorder on the body. All right, and the nutrient source. Where could you find these nutrients? So the first one we're going to talk about is, let's start with R. Before I say it, anyone could think of
Rickets.
Rickets. Very good, Rickets. So rickets is a deficiency disease. It affects which part of the body?
The legs.
The legs. No,
Okay, let me.
the bones.
The bones, yes, the bones. So it's also called brittle bones. So rickets affect the bone. What is the cause of rickets?
A lack of vitamin D.
Lack of vitamin D, or I'm looking for C.
Or calcium.
Calcium, yes. So the lack of the mineral calcium, and calcium is responsible for making the bone hard. And vitamin D. Where could we get vitamin D from?
The sun.
The sun.
The sun. All right. Okay. Then what's the effect on the body? We know that.
That must be make the bones hard or just
Make the bones burn.
Right. Yeah, we could put the bones there, make the bones hard. That's fine. That's why we need calcium. Now, the effect on the body. What does rickets have on the body? The effect that it has on the body.
like
Bones brittle.
Okay, makes the bone brittle. So the bones are soft, right, and brittle. So that means that they're easily to do what?
Break.
Easy to break, right? So easy to break when a force is applied. The nutrient source, where could we get calcium and those things? Where could we get them stuff from?
You get calcium by dairy products, and for vitamin D you get it by the sun.
Yeah, so vitamin D is going to be from our sun. Calcium, what they want you to put is milk. Well, I'm an advocate of milk anyway, so. But on your exam, they're looking for milk for calcium. Tomatoes, cheese, broccoli. Yeah, eat your broccoli. Yogurt. Anyone like yogurt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the
Any
ice cream version.
I never did like you. I didn't really think yogurt for me was I was expecting it to be more, I guess. I mean, yogurt didn't wasn't
Sweetie.
yeah.
just missing something.
Yeah, like it missing something. That's the word. Like it missing something.
Probably never had the ice cream yogurt.
Oh, probably not ice cream. You're right.
Yeah, that thing crazy.
That crazy. Okay. All right, I'll take your word for it. All right. And sunlight. Sunlight is of course for vitamin D. All right. Okay, so that's rickets. Let's let me just show you some pictures of it. So Rickets, oh my, prepare for, I don't even know why you should show pictures, but prepare for a nightmare, okay?
I mean, you can see it all the time. It's like nothing.
If you can't take it, close your eyes. Just don't tell your parents, you know, just, if you can't take it, then don't look at it. But these are Rickets, okay? Okay, lack of calcium. The good thing is, I like this diagram. So we have the deformed legs. Like you say, we see it a lot of time in Providence. Okay, so it affects the bones. So the normal bones, of course, is strong and could take pressure. But this one here, we have a little interruption here, a little break in here, because it's not able to sustain the pressure. It's brittle. It's more weak. All right, and so we have a broken part of it here. I like this picture too. Shows you where we have knock knees and bow-leggedness. All right, Rickets. Okay, so let's move
I
on.
know Bulag was Rickets.
And so let me use this picture. Yeah, it could be from Rickets. And I don't know if I put it here. Let me see. It's giving me a new line. Anyway, you just have to see it like that. I'm not gonna put the picture. The next one that we can talk about is, we saw this before. It's already 3 minutes to 9. How?
You
Anemia.
start late
Time
too.
is flying.
Time is flying. Anemia is the
When
lack
you're
of what?
having fun,
Yeah, when you have it. Anemia is the lack of what?
iron in the blood.
Yeah, lack of the mineral iron. Alright. What's the effect on the body that's gonna have?
Shortness of breath.
Shortness of breath. Yeah, that's true. What else? Shortness of breath. What happens to oxygen levels?
It drops.
Yeah, oxygen levels is gonna drop. It's gonna go down um because the red blood cells is what we use to transport oxygen around the body. And so if that's deformed, definitely oxygen levels is gonna drop. Okay, so iron is needed for the protein. What makes the blood red, by the way? It's a protein makes the blood red, that gives the blood red, the blood its red color.
So
Hemoglobin.
asking a question.
Yeah, hemoglobin. I spelled it wrong. Yeah. Hemoglobin. So iron is needed for the protein hemoglobin found in red blood cells. This is gonna be the last one before we go, okay? Sorry, I don't want to keep you all too long. Found in red blood cells that allows. Go ahead.
Rickety?
Rickety. What do you mean?
It's like when you don't have enough vitamin C and your teeth get messed up. I think it's called rickety.
Teeth? You say when your teeth?
Uh-huh.
There comes some kind of scurvy.
No,
Ah.
scurvy is vitamin C. Yeah, scurvy. Yeah, we come into that, but we can do that at night definitely. When you have time for rickets and anemia. But iron is needed for the protein hemoglobin found in red blood cells that allows them to transport oxygen. Now, if you're low in iron, right, persons, you're gonna have shortness of breath. Persons are often short of breath. They tire easily. Tire. That means they get tired easy. And have muscle pains.
And there's followed plenty.
Yes, sir. We could get, oh, yuck. We could get iron from liver. Yeesh. Or the better way, legumes. Alright?
That's a type of plant, right?
Legumes is like beans.
Yeah, but is that the type of plant? Legumes.
What do you mean?
Like are you familiar?
Yeah, I know
that
you're talking
word?
about. The word come from a type of plants. I know you're talking about. But in this context, they're referring to the beans. But I know you're talking about. I can't remember exactly, but I remember seeing legumes in the nitrogen cycle. And so it does refer to a class of plants. I remember that.
So you can't just say like vitamins for all of these, because vitamins are all of these.
Vitamins? What do you mean?
Vitamins.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Like the iron vitamin. You can't just say iron vitamin supplement.
Just get the supplement one time.
Yeah, because it's 2021. Who planning being seeds just to get iron?
2022.
Alright.
Plenty people just do that to save money.
Many people do to save money. Yeah, I mean, hey.
I mean, that could be like peas and rice, but like
Yeah, peas.
specifically
Yeah.
for iron.
No, I mean, you would, yeah, not specifically for iron. I think the added benefits are there. Okay, the added benefits are there. Okay, so legumes would be stuff like your peas, your beans, your lentils. They are different types of legumes. Okay, so when we say legumes, we're basically talking about the bean world. All right, so that brings us to the end of our study. Make sure to send in the class notes before you leave tonight, and make sure do the general science homework for those who are in
You
general
wanna
science.
ask them to list like 3 marks?
I gave them 3 minutes extra. I took 3 minutes of their time, so let me not
No,
do
I
that.
mean for homework.
For homework, I know you're talking about.
Just do the night, right?
Yes, the general science is you could send it in tonight.
Alright.
Okay, I got my homework right now.
All right, and you're gonna leave, right, Destiny?
I will leave when you end the call. Like you
All right,
usually do.
everyone else have a wonderful night.
You too.
You
Take
could
care.
go at this man, please.
No problem. Let me go.